You know the feeling when you're not a regular broke, you're a high-class brocade. I feel you. I also dream about Gucci suits and want to smell of Chanel. But I bet you always wonder why a tiny wallet costs so much just because it has a brand label on it. What you don't know is what it cost the founders of those fashion monsters to reach those heights. I'm Jason, and I'm going to tell you about the dark secrets behind the rise of the most famous fashion designers, including a tragic death. So let's go through it all together till the very end. I know exactly who you are thinking about right now, Gianni Versace, whose story was covered in the miniseries American Crime Story, The Assassination of Gianni Versace. And OMG, what a series! In 1997, he was shot dead in the neck and head by Andrew Cunanan, played by Darren Criss. Unfortunately, we'll never find out the real reasons Cunanan committed this murder, but there are too many rumors. Some suggest it was out of jealousy. Others say that it had to deal with the Calabrian Mafia. Only 8 days after the terrible event, Andrew took his own life, being one of the 10 most wanted people in the United States, as he was guilty of the murder of Versace and 4 other people. What I can say, a tragic story, covered in mystery. I hope you still want more, because this wasn't the only real-life horror story hiding behind fashion curtains. Now it's time for Coco Chanel. I know, I also thought it was just a pretty name created for the brand, until I found out the truth about that woman, and what she was doing with Nazi Germany. For her, Gestapo became a way to get more profit. As revealed by a French documentary, Chanel's name was Agent F7124 while providing information to the invaders. As it happens, once the war ended, she was about to be charged as a collaborator and be executed. But the designer was lucky enough and was saved thanks to her contacts with the British Prime Minister. Well, as I started this topic, I can't forget to mention the founder of the Hugo Boss House, Hugo Ferdinand Boss, who in 1931 joined the Nazi Party thanks to blind faith in the anti-Semitic movement. The guy was so committed to serve that he ended up creating uniforms for Karl Diebitsch. Hugo was supplying the Germans with uniforms, employing Jews as slave labor. Of course, when the conflict ended, he was charged a large fine, although he died only 3 years after World War II. The company, on the other hand, apologized many times for this dark chapter of its history, and in fact, currently no member of the family runs it. Another fashion royal, Maurizio Gucci, found a terrible ending very similar to Gianni Versace's fate. In 1995, he was shot by hitman Benedetto Seralu, who fired on the tycoon 4 times at the door of his home just as he was preparing to go to work. For 2 years, the Italian police was trying to find connections with the Italian mafia or with Arab investors who might be behind the incident. Finally, they found out that the person who had hired Seralu was none other than his ex-wife, Patrizia Reggiani. After a fierce fight, she decided to kill her husband she spent 12 years with. And let's not forget the fact that he left her for a younger girl. Despite being responsible for the murder, she received around $27 million in inheritance based on her prenuptial agreement. The last but not least character of our own fashion horror story is Alexander McQueen. Thanks to Givenchy, he managed to achieve fame and recognition worldwide and bringing a fresh breath to the fashion industry. Could you possibly think that that person came through a series of abuses in childhood that haunted him until his last days? Apparently, the loss of his mother was the last straw. Completely shocked by this event, he decided to end his own life, asking to take care of his beloved dogs in a death note. He died only in a span of a few days after his mother. I don't think I'll ever be able to look at those clothing brands the same. How about you? Did you know what tragic and dark stories are hidden behind the greatest fashion labels? I'll be glad to read your comments on it, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel to become part of our Curiosips family. See you later.